Good evening, everyone. It is so nice to see you all and to be here. And if you're watching the recording, hello to you as well. I'm Rabbi Sarah Tasman. It is so special to be here with our Tasman Center patrons. And Lorianne Easley-Drogan is doing a session for us tonight in honor of the Jewish holiday of TuBiShevat and also Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is today. Both holidays are today. And I'm going to turn it over to Lorianne, who is going to lead us in a spiritual and creative experience tonight. So thank you, Lorianne.
Thank you, Rabbi Sarah. I'm Lorianne, Dr. Lorianne, I suppose, still, always. I have my background is as a psychologist and as Unitarian Universalist Jewish clergy. I didn't go the rabbinic route. I went the UU route because I've been doing community ministry for the last, oh my goodness, I graduated seminary in 1989 for the last long time. And I was privileged to work with Sarah when Sarah was just a wee high school student. And I'm immensely proud of her, as I know her mother is as well. And I spent years doing ministry, working with interfaith situations, doing a lot of work in the African-American community, as well as the Jewish community, trying to pull the two together. Just a lot of interfaith work, a lot of social justice work, teaching, all that stuff. So I am happily retired now, sort of happily retired. And I'm just so pleased that Sarah is welcoming me to do this. So before we begin and separate the secular space from the sacred space, it's been a weekend. And sometimes in order for us to move forward in our growth, we need to process a little bit of what we're carrying around with us. So if anybody would like to share a little bit of what we're still carrying from this weekend so that we can put that in its proper space and we can separate the then from the future, even as we carry our thoughts, our concerns with us. Let's do that now before we light our candles. If anybody has anything to share, any reflections on what we've been through as a community and as human beings.
Sure. My name is Jeremy Mendelson, and I recently read a couple of articles on my way home from work related to the hostage situation in Texas. And so definitely am carrying that, or have thought of that, and the families and individuals and even the victim himself and his family, and the challenges that they now face going forward as well.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that that I was thinking a lot about, I read one of the articles about how a lot of the chaplains and the interfaith clergy were waiting at a church like all day, waiting for Rabbi Charlie to be released and for the other hostages to be released, and that like they were there to like hug him and greet him like when he came out after, and that they were there also for his wife and daughter as well. And I just remember thinking like how powerful that was. And even though this was such a terrifying and horrific situation that comes, you know, in a series of terrifying and horrific anti-Semitic situations that have happened, you know, every year, that was an incredibly moving and hopeful and supportive piece of this terrifying situation, that the interfaith leaders were there to support Rabbi Charlie. And I read this other article that said how like what a calming presence the rabbi was, and how he, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine being in a situation like that. And they certainly don't train you for that in a seminary or rabbinical school. And so just seeing how the community supported him and responded to him because of the relationships that he had made with the other, with the Muslim community and the Christian community and other faith leaders. And so I thought that was comforting to read that.
That was very powerful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Charlie, in my mind, is a true hero. I'm sure that he encouraged his congregation to take along with him the training classes that so many of us have not taken, are not really thought of, or perhaps haven't been offered. And here they are in this small town in Texas. And they've been trained by an aware police department, which I also found very moving. And it makes me glad that I am part of a synagogue here in Florida, in Sarasota, that has a very distinct security presence when you pull up. And it both makes me sad, but I think the stronger emotion is, okay, we're safe.
Thank you. Kathy.
I think probably everybody knows that Rabbi Charlie was very active in interfaith work, trying to bring all the different people of the communities together, as you are, Laurie. And I think it just seems so terribly ironic that this person would choose to go to that temple and or to go anywhere actually. The on National Public Television tonight, someone was speaking, or there was some discussion that people don't in general don't seem to be as concerned about anti-Semitism as other forms of similar kind of hate crimes. And I think that it's really a sad situation. Things are now, and besides anti-Semitism, that people seem to be at risk for whatever their beliefs are by other people who are not tolerant. So I think it's a sad situation. But as Sarah said, and Susan, as you said too, that there are some positive things. We can't forget that.
It is. It's a very difficult time, but in the difficult times, those are the times we look for and we find hope. Even if it seems just a small ray of hope, we find hope. And as Sarah said, the interfaith leaders gathering together is a little bit more than a small ray of hope. It's a very large ray of hope. And I'd like for us to hold on to that, even as we're aware of the safety issues. You know, it's a tough time again. But the community has been through tough times, worse than this. And we just need to continue to remain vigilant. And as Susan said, it's wonderful to be part of a congregation where you know you're safe because of the security presence. But at the same time, it's disheartening to know that we need to have the security presence. My rabbi wrote a wonderful letter to the congregation about when is he going to tell his daughter why he wears a panic button every time he goes to work. And that struck me as, you know, as people of faith, why are we panicking? But we have to panic sometimes, and it's hard. We're human. We're human. So thank you all for sharing the reflections you have. And now let's move on. We have a holiday to celebrate, as we always do when we come through tough times. We have a holiday to celebrate. So let's attend to the difference between secular time and holy time together. Because whenever we gather together, regardless of faith tradition, regardless of beliefs, when we declare that it is a holy time, it is a holy time. So let's light our candles together. Does everybody have their candles? I have to put mine way back on another table because my cat will jump up here at some point during tonight's workshop, and I cannot have that with a candle lit. Let's light our candles together and let's say a silent prayer from whatever tradition is your own to separate secular time from this holy time that we're going to spend together in reflection. And now, before I ask everybody to mute, I think Sarah has everybody muted already, but before people were smart enough to mute themselves. Wow, wonderful. Before I ask everybody to mute yourself, let's bless our fruits and let's talk about why we chose the fruits we chose. I have dates. Who would like to start? Kathy.
Well, I've been eating a lot of dried fruits lately myself, but I have green grapes. And when Sarah was visiting with her husband and child not too long ago, we were getting food for him, planning on what he would eat, and he ate grapes. And my husband and I had not had grapes in a long time. And we do curbside pickup for groceries, so we have kind of a list of what we repeatedly get. But so we started eating grapes because of Sarah's little boy, and now we're grape eaters again.
So inspired by a new generation.
Yes.
You are now a grape eater.
Yes.
Who else? I will start calling on people. I was a teacher.
Amelia, I can't hear you.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Oh wait, now I can. Go ahead. Now I can, because it looked like you started talking, but go ahead. Now I can hear you.
Okay, great. I have a green apple. And you know, I like the shape of it and the color of it. And so, and I like the wholeness of it. And so that's why I brought it.
Thank you, Amelia. Susan.
Well, I don't have a piece of fruit with me this moment because I'm diabetic and I usually can't eat fruit. But the fruit that I would have, if I could, would be a blueberry because they're my go-to when my body says, yes, let's have some fruit. And they're beautiful and they're healthy and they make me happy.
So we've got fruits that are wholeness, the apple. We've got fruits that inspire health, the blueberry. Mary, you had your hand up.
Yes, I brought up a clementine. We had, my daughters were over this weekend and they brought apples and clementines. And I don't know, I walked by it and it just made me smile. So I peeled it downstairs and it smells so good.
So fruits that inspire the senses, inspire smiles.
I brought one too because it was easy to grab, and also I appreciate the sort of the metaphor or the analogy of the fruit being inside the skin. And even though the skin is like bitter and we don't eat it, actually the skin has like the zest and the oil and I love essential oils. And so I love that like every part of the orange can be, that we can derive benefit from every part of the orange. And this, I don't know if this is this is either maybe a mandarin orange, I think so. Which I used to eat canned as a child, but now can eat like this.
So the development of the fruit from what you ate as a child to what you're eating now. And Jeremy.
So I actually have some frozen fruit that I'm going to use for mine. It's a bag of mixed berries from Dole, and I use it for smoothies, which I actually was just finishing tonight. So it's a good part of my morning breakfast routine.
So you work your fruits into a ritual of sorts, a way to begin again every day. So that's wonderful. And I brought dates for their sweetness. I use dates to sweeten things. I tend not to use very much sugar, but in my smoothies, Jeremy, I put dates and it sweetens them wonderfully. So the thing about fruit, now I'll ask you all to mute ever so briefly. The thing about fruit is that it's not only the result of amazing growth of trees, of vines, but it's also the seed. You know, if you throw fruit out into your yard or wherever, something will come up. It plants the seed. So there are very few things in this world, in the natural world, that are both the result of the growth and the inspiration for the growth. And tonight, as we go through our workshop, I'd like us to consider ways in which we are both the seed, the inspiration, and the fruits of our own growth process. And it's just something for us to think about as we go through our meditation tonight and as we go through our creative process tonight. How can we both be the seed and the fruit, like all the fruits we've brought with us? When I lived in Louisville, as a matter of fact, I remembered that one time somebody threw tomatoes and they landed in my driveway. I don't remember what the issue was, but I was doing something justice oriented that people didn't like. And they threw some tomatoes, and in my driveway, through a crack in the driveway, grew a tomato plant. And I would not get rid of that tomato plant for anything. It grew there. So, you know, the tomato that's supposed to be used for fruit, for sustenance, for food, also grew a new plant from that. So how can we as human beings be both the seed and the fruit of our growth process and of other people's growth processes? I wouldn't be clergy if I didn't throw a little Devar Torah in here. I can't help myself. But I think that this week's Torah portion that had nothing to do with TuBiShevat actually has a lot to do with TuBiShevat. It's the point at which the Israelites, after all their wanderings, are caught between the Egyptians with all their weaponry and their chariots and their horses and their armor, and the sea. There was nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. You turn around, you've got an army behind you that wants you dead. You look forward, there's water in front of you. Where do you go? The rabbis have said that there was a reason that the Israelites were led through the desert on a circuitous route rather than taking the straight and narrow. And it was because when you take a circuitous route, it's much more difficult to turn around and go back. The Israelites were coming out of a slave mentality where so many times they just wanted to turn around and go back. But because they took such a winding route, turning back would not have been even reasonable, let alone easy. There was nowhere to go but forward. And it's that way for us. So often we get caught in our own slave mentality and we think, okay, wouldn't it be easier just to turn around and go back to the old ways, the way we've always done things, our comfort place, our place where we don't have to think very much, where things are just the way they've always been, rather than take that step forward into the sea and grow. But remember, the Israelites took that step into the sea. And what they left behind were all the demons chasing them. So in order for us to move beyond our own slave mentality and our slavery to that which was comfortable, even if it wasn't necessarily always good, we just need to move forward like the trees, up, always up. Because if trees just remained roots, they'd never see the sunlight. If trees just remained roots, they'd never bear fruit. If trees just remained the roots, they'd never reach their purpose and they'd never reach their potential. So on this TuBiShevat holiday, remember, always growth, always upward, always toward the sunlight, toward the light. The roots are important. If the roots took a direct, just straight up and down, the tree would fall over. The roots too take a circuitous route in order to nurture that tree and give it stability. So we may look at our lives and say, oh gosh, what have I done? This is not how I planned it. This is not how I planned it at all. I did X, Y, and Z, and we're supposed to be at A and B now. But maybe that's not how it's supposed to be. Maybe we're supposed to take their circuitous route so that it's not easy to turn around and say, I want to go back where I was. Are we ready for some guided meditation? All right. All right. Is everybody sitting comfortably at this point? Phones turned off. All right, I'll wait for Jeremy to return. All right, as we enter into this time of guided meditation, think about where is your growth leading you? Where did your roots come from? Where is your growth leading you? What fruits are you going to bear that might be the seed for some future growth? You might close your eyes if you haven't already, if you're comfortable closing your eyes. Feel your feet on the floor rooting you. Feel your sitting bones stabilizing you. And feel your head resting on your neck like a ball on a pole. Guided upward to the sunlight, not pushing, but just feel your head lifting up, always upward, even as you feel your feet on the floor rooting you, your sitting bones stabilizing you, your head reaching up to the heavens like the branches of a tree. Now breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Attend to your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel your heartbeat, your rhythm. Yours alone. Feel how your heart rate works together with your breath, creating the music of your body, the rhythm of your life. And as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Find yourself outdoors on a sunny day. Feel the warmth of the sun on your face. Feel the breeze as it matches your breath. The Ruach, the breath of God, within you, without you. The coolness of the breeze on this warm day as the sun kisses your face. Breathe in, breathe out. You may seek the shade of a nearby tree. You may prefer to sit in the sun. This is your place. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, as you listen, you'll hear the sound of a nearby brook. In the warmth of the sun, feel the rays of the sun beating down upon you, and seek that brook. You may stick your toe in the water to feel the contrast between the water and the warmth of the air. Feel that coolness, the contrast. Now breathing this spirit, you look upstream. And there's a box in the stream. It's floating toward you. And somehow you know that this box is meant for you. Watch the box as it grows closer. Anticipate its arrival. Now you can reach into the stream and retrieve that box. Feel its texture. See its angles, its color if it has any. And hold the box in your hands. Cherish that box. It was meant for you. And now the time has come. You are free to open the box. And inside, there's a message. A message just for you. And take in this message and hold it in your mind. Hold it in your heart. And when you are ready, replace it into the box and let it continue its journey downstream. Watch as it drifts out of sight. Continue to feel the warmth of the sun, the rhythm of the breeze with your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And when you are ready, slowly fluttering your lids, open your eyes and return to us. And now, the reason you brought your creative materials to reflect or create the message that you received, whether through painting, drawing, journaling, whatever medium you choose. Either reflect upon or describe what you received in your meditation. And we'll take, I guess, I'm looking at the clock, 10 minutes to get started on it. It's not something that you need to finish now, but 10 minutes to work on this, and then we'll come back and share what we received. And maybe if we are comfortable sharing our artwork. All right, we'll take 10 minutes. And while you're creating, eat your fruit. If it's not frozen. Okay, I think it's been about 10 minutes. So I'm not saying you have to be finished. I'm just saying to just finish up for now so that we can share. Who would like to share some of what they got from their meditation, maybe their message, if it's something that you're comfortable sharing, or your artwork that you've created just now?
I can jump in that brook. I really loved that guided meditation, and so I made a little blessing book. This is something I do a lot whenever there's just like a short little time to make art, and I had one for Hanukkah that I had like just a little blessing book, and so I'll read to you what is inside. A box floated down a brook to me. I took it in my hands. Inside was a message. It said in the voice of my future self, "Hold on, just hold on." I breathed in the spirit of God. I breathed out a sigh of relief, love, and gratitude. So that's my little.
Thank you, Sarah. Rabbi Sarah.
You can call me Sarah in this group, totally fine. Thank you for letting me share.
So I had 2 drawings that I started to make, and then even a writing as well. So I think what I'll start with is one of the drawings. So in the visualization, I went to a couple places. One is a nice place that I think about often when I get chances to go there in Israel, on the beach during an Israel trip. And then the second place that I'm going to show you is Frederick, Maryland, Sugarloaf Mountain. And so I attempted to draw a sunshine in the corner, a tree, and I tried to take your message, Dr. Lorianne, about circuitous routes. So I used some circuitous routes as well. On the bottom, you'll see. And yeah, just choosing, I didn't look at a picture of a tree before, so this is my own version. I noted that it's not a literal tree, but it's what I could draw given the time and who I am. So let's see. So yeah, there's the top of the tree with some branches and then leaves, is in the process. And then the bottom, the jagged roots, you can see circuitous route. And then the corner you might not be able to see because yellow sometimes doesn't come up, whoops, wrong way, so well in a small picture. And then I actually wrote part of my writing, actually connects real quick with that, and that is the idea that financial management is something that I don't do so well, but I'm going in circuitous routes and I feel like I can't go back to my naive place of financial management. So I'm ready and I'm making some progress. And I know that with my dad, he may be a little frustrated, but I'm going to get there at some point. And that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Jeremy. Stepping into the future. Susan. You're muted, Susan. Susan, you're still muted.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you. I love the visualization, especially of the brook. And what occurred to me is that I too took in that concept of the circuitous route. because I'm living a situation right now that it has taken a lot of circuitous routes. I'm scheduled for knee surgery in early February. And 10 months ago, when all of this began, I could never have believed that, and spent so much time trying to do non-surgical things, which eventually led me to this portion. And I had a really wonderful session today with a person who's a great healer in my life. And we talked about the concept of trust, and that all of, and the concept that all of these things had to take place in order for me to find myself in the place that I am now, that I am embracing. And so I love color. And the word trust just kept coming up to me. It so definitely was my message in the book. And I'm just realizing now that I used all of these colors, I think because it came to me in multicolor.
Thank you, Susan. Amelia.
So thank you for the invitation. I was really intrigued by the image of the box sort of bumping, flowing down the river, and I could see it very distinctly. And I think my image sort of reflected that. And then something I've been thinking about, which is on that sense of just kind of going with the river. You know, row gently, go with the flow. And so I had some fun with that. It looks a little muted online, but that's the idea.
Nice. Thank you, Amelia. Kathy, Mary, anything to share?
I'll share. I'll just let you all know I'm a crybaby and I'm having an emotional day. It's a full moon. I loved that meditation. It was beautiful, and you all are beautiful for sharing. I love your words, inspire me and they move me. The box that came to me had the message, you are loved. And I really needed to hear that today. And I've been in a pink mood for a long time. I don't know what it means. I mean, I guess I could look it up, but I don't know that it means something like what it means to everybody else. So I've been going with it. So I took notes in my art journal, and then I had this pink pencil, and I have no idea where it came from. This pink pencil was sitting there. So I kind of scribbled and then put some water on it. And then I started collaging, and I had someone sent us, I can't believe they still send them out. Those little calendars that you sit up on your desk, they prop up. And I have, the date is got a circle around it for today. I don't know if that'll stay there, but it's a start, and it felt really good. This was very soothing and whole. I just love these gatherings. I appreciate all of that and what everybody brings to the table and the courage that it shows. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and you are loved.
Thank you.
Kathy, you were going to say something and you were still muted.
Okay. I really like the guided meditation also. And you're very soothing when you talk to others. Anyway, I also had the image of the message being "you are loved," and I started kind of going from there as a jumping off place too, of thinking that I love others, and then also thinking about what we had talked about earlier about the temple situation, and people kind of being separated from each other by their beliefs. And so this is just the beginning of a simple sketch. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm not sure if you can see. There are people that I'm kind of in the middle, and like here, and there are people that kind of have they're attached to each other by their arms, kind of. I don't know if you can see, the pencil is light.
You can see.
Okay, anyway, so that was that. And so thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everybody, for sharing, on this TuBiShevat and Martin Luther King Day, and apparently Betty White Day. There's so much growth to be had, so much good to be found. And that's my wish for all of us, that from our roots, from the circuitous route that we've all taken to get here, that we can continue to inspire one another, even as we continue to inspire ourselves to reach for those things that matter to us, and be the fruits of our own growth process. Now, before we extinguish our candles, I know it's 8 o'clock. I know it's 9 o'clock, but I'd like to read a poem that was written by the Rosh Chodesh group of Temple Beth El in Charlotte. It's a friend of mine as part of that group. And it was inspired by the poet Rumi. Be like a tree and renew yourself so that you may grow and thrive. Reach for the light as you also deepen your roots. Be like a tree and provide fruit that sustains life and does good. Offer shade to extend help to those who toil in the sun. Be like a tree and stand tall and sway that you might weather the storms. Allow your bark to shield you from the difficulties of life. Be like a tree and know that after a loss, new beauty and new beginnings will grow. Spread your branches to embrace all those who surround you. And now let us extinguish our candles and return to the world as we left it.
Thank you so much, Lorianne. I know I needed this tonight, and this was really powerful. And I want to echo what Mary said about how much courage it takes for everyone to share. And so I really want to honor everyone for sharing tonight and for being part of this. And I also get so much inspiration personally from hearing from other people and from seeing what you all create. So thank you all so much for being part of this tonight. And thank you so much to Dr. Lorianne for leading us in this gathering. And there will be some new content coming through Patreon for all of you in the coming months. There's going to be regularly scheduled stuff that has to do with the theme for each Hebrew month. But also there's going to be a Shemitah studio series where I have some conversations that I've done with other artists and seeing their studios and talking about the creative process, and also talking about this theme of this year being the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year in the Jewish calendar, and the relationship between creative process and also stepping back and having some space, and how to think about the Shemitah year when you are an artist. So stay tuned for that series coming soon. And also, just if anyone was inspired tonight to want to lead an art gathering like this for our group at some point, it is an open invitation to all of you. So don't hesitate to be in touch if anyone else would want to lead something like this, or if you are interested but have never led something like this and want some help or guidance, happy to do that. But if anyone feels moved, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.